What is up guys, it's your boy Solheim here, back with another Classic WoW video for Season of Discovery. Now today we are reacting to this video right here. It's titled Why I Feel Apathetic Towards Season of Discovery, and the title and thumbnail just caught my interest and I want to check it out. I will say it's from a channel that I have never seen before, so I'm hoping it's good, and I can't wait to see some more point of views and aspects on Season of Discovery as a whole. It is worth mentioning that as I'm now reacting to this, I have also just reacted to the announcement slash features overview of Phase 4, so we know a little bit more about what's coming in Phase 4, and this video right here that I'm reacting to now came out before that. So maybe he raises some concerns in the video that might be resolved in Phase 4, even though personally I doubt it, but either way, let's take a look. I think it's good to get some point of views on why people are either happy or unhappy about Season of Discovery, not just for us as players or community, but to Blizzard as well. I think by them doing seasonal servers, we had Season of Mastery for example, now we have Season of Discovery. It's important to learn lessons. What do people like, what do they not like, what make people jump ship? A lot of people have quit by now, that's not a subjective thing, that's a fact, and Blizzard can learn from that from a future season and make it better. Either way, let's take a look at the video.
Today, I wanted to share my personal experience with Season of Discovery and what I think Blizzard could do to improve. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about one of the biggest issues for me, the undercutting in the game. So let me give you an example.
Undercutting?
Incursions were meant to add exciting new content and challenges, but what they did is they ended up making the game feel trivial because the gear you can get from Incursions is just way too easy to obtain. And it didn't even stop there. Incursions also provided a shortcut to leveling, allowing players to reach level 50 in just a few hours. And on top of that, the amount of gold that you could earn from these incursions was just massively excessive. And I know Blizzard, they addressed these issues, it was just too late. The damage has already been done. And
It's also not just that, but the ease of access and how really simple they are to do. You can just literally spam incursions, you do the same lap over and over again, and even if you don't do the same lap, they're still in the same zone. If you have leveled at all in Classic WoW, you know how much of a part of your leveling experience traveling time is. Traveling time probably is more than your active leveling time. When it comes to doing a dungeon and walking together to Scarlet Monastery, that can be a 20 to 40 minute thing, or walking from Westfall to Red Ridge, walking down to Stranglethorn. Just the amount of walking or even Gryphon riding traveling you have to do, the traveling time spent while leveling is insane, and it's something people really like. A lot of people like it, at least. Some people don't like it, that's fine, but a lot of people do. It's something that made Classic WoW what it is. It's kind of a staple to Classic WoW, the amount of traveling time you spend while you're leveling, whether that is for dungeons or just for questing and swapping questing zones. Incursions took that whole thing away. They took travel time, threw it in the bin, and now you can level from level 25 to level 50 in one place. Well, technically in two places. You would do 25 to 40 in Duskwood and 40 to 50 in Ashenvale, and that's it. You only have to move once. Apart from that, you do the same quest, you can be in the same place, no more travel time, baby. But that really doesn't feel like Classic WoW though, does it? If you've been leveling in Classic WoW, it just doesn't feel the same. It feels really un-Classic WoW-like.
lastly, how disappointing was it to see that these zones weren't no zone. These were just the regular old zones with some green foggy skin laid all over it. I was absolutely expecting to see what they hinted at even before vanilla. Zones
same.
that were different than the same zones with the foggy green skin all over it. What they do, these incursions, instead of encouraging players to...
I was hoping to see brand new zones. I've played Turtle WoW in the past, I know what they did, and I feel like the Classic WoW developer team should be able to do at least a fraction of the same. On Turtle WoW, we already have way more zones. We have like, I don't know how many, but we have the brand new island, which is basically two islands split into one. That's a brand new zone. We have the Goblin Starter Zone, that could be a brand new zone by itself. And we have at least one, I think two new dungeons while leveling. And then we have a brand new endgame dungeons as well. Like for example, we have the Stormwind Prison kind of thing, like the thing in Stormwind, and we have the Karazhan Crypts. Even having one brand new dungeon in Classic WoW Season of Discovery would be so great. Even while leveling. Take the one they have in Turtle WoW and take it for yourself. It's your IP. Just do something. Give us something brand new that we haven't seen before. And for endgame zones, we could have Emerald Dream as a brand new endgame zone, which might still be coming later down the line, but at this point I'm tired of being edged, and I'm tired of this whole, let's just wait and see what they add in Phase 7 or Phase 8. I want to see brand new stuff now, and I get it. We're all gamers who want to see things now, but we are at the moment 7 months into a Season of Discovery, and we are at the end of Phase 3. We're closing in on Phase 4, and we haven't seen any new content. Yes, we've seen the scaled up raids, but Sunken Temple is Sunken Temple. We've been there before. Gnomeregan is Gnomeregan, Black Fathom Depths is Black Fathom Depth. We've been there before. The new content that we've seen is basically the Stranglethorn Vale PvP event, and the Ashen Vale PvP event, but even that is old stuff rehashed into something that we haven't experienced before. I would want to see, and I will restate this, new content. New. Not old, rehashed, and reimagined. New content that makes sense in the Classic WoW lore, which Turtle WoW has done really well. And that could be dungeons, could be a brand new zone, could be a brand new questline from start to finish. It could just be so many things, right, that we haven't seen as of yet, which we could see in the future. I'm hoping we see in the future, but we should have seen it by now. You can't just wait and give us this new content when half your player base has jumped ship. You want to give them this content while they're on the ship, because at some point when they jump ship, they will not come back no matter what you promise them. At some point it's too late.
Explore the world, complete quests, and run dungeons. Incursions kind of provided a shortcut that undermined the entire leveling and gearing process, making much of the game world redundant. I felt like my time wasn't being respected. Why grind through challenging content when you can just do a few repeatable quests for the same or even better rewards? This is something that Blizzard has done again and again, and for some reason they do not understand or doesn't seem to grasp the negative impact this has on the game. And there are more examples of this. When Blizzard added the raids at the end of each phase, like Black Fathom Depths for the first raid, it created the same problem in a way. By offering high tier gear in these raids, it makes all other...
Yeah, I will say this, I've mentioned this in previous videos. I know there's a distinct divide between Blizzard and the Classic WoW developer team, and usually when I say Blizzard made a mistake, I'm talking about Blizzard. There's somebody at Blizzard that has the power to like say yes or no to certain things when it comes to the changes in the game, like monetization, stuff like that. But Incursions, I'm putting that completely on the Classic WoW developer team, because there's no way that the overarching overlords at Blizzard were like, no, I need to buy more yachts, do it differently. There is no monetary aspect here. Incursions being put in the way they were in Phase 4 shows me blatantly that the Classic WoW developer team wants that to be the way you level, or like it shows a huge divide in what Classic WoW is. Like they took the need of open world away and put you inside an instance where you could grind levels for 25 levels in 2 zones. They took out the need to pre-gear like farm dungeons to get busy gear before raids, because you got the set bonus from grinding Incursions. They even incentivized you to do Incursions over open world stuff by locking, first of all, the gear, also runes behind this reputation, and if you're a feral, you need to have the rep for catnips. So you had items, gear, and also runes locked behind the reputation of doing the Incursions. You were heavily incentivized to do them, and when you can do them while leveling, you're incentivized to do them while leveling instead of doing so at max level. It's just such a dumb system that I can't fathom why they put it in the way it was put in. On top of that, they gave you gold as well, so they took out the need for you to do quests in the open world, they took out the need for you to do dungeons, took out the need for teamwork, took out the need to farm gold, took out the need to farm gear. They just gave you everything. It's welfare everything. It's welfare gear, welfare levels, welfare gold, welfare runes. I don't know, like, at what point? That is a vision, it's a problem with the vision they had for the game. I'm just going to put it that way. That one I completely put on the developers for even putting in the game to begin with.
Gear from dungeons and quests feel redundant. Players can go into the next phase with this gear, making the gear progression from phase 1 to phase 2 feel irrelevant. By that I mean quests that reward gear become pointless because no quest item can compete with the gear obtained from BFD. The first phase had some interest because gear-wise, you had to get a certain level of gear before you could participate in BFD, and you had to go out into the world to get this gear. But since then, this hasn't been the same. The gear you would be getting from quests wasn't better from phase 1 to phase 2, at least not enough for people to actually consider quest gear as an option of gearing before hitting the next level bracket, and then going into Gnormaggan. And the same goes for Gnormaggan. So in that way, the world became irrelevant. Back when they did this the first time, when the classic PTR first launched back in 2019, the phases didn't end with the raids that provided all the best in slot gear. If you remember, streamers were given access to the beta, had to explore the world to obtain best in slot items from various sources. Back then, this made the entire game feel relevant. The streamers got best in slot gear from different dungeons, some elite quests, even some bind on equipped items bought off the auction house, or from grinding mobs. So this diversity in gear acquisition kept the game world alive and engaging. With these raids at the end of each phase, it pretty much just makes at least all the quest gear irrelevant. Most of the dungeon gear also pretty much irrelevant. And BOEs formed from out in the world, kind of irrelevant, most of them. And next up, let's discuss the overwhelming number of abilities and runes added to the game. While adding new abilities and runes can be exciting, Season of Discovery, in my opinion, went overboard. As many say, the game shifted from a Classic Plus experience to a retail minus. It felt less like Classic and more like a chaotic, unbalanced mess. And this was especially evident in PvP. The one-shot meta merged where players could be killed almost instantly. And it removed any real strategy or skill, turning battles into quick, unfulfilling encounters. And I addressed this in a previous video where I feel like the PvP part, that's I think the other half of the game, and it is in my opinion the most replayable part of the game, but it has to a large degree been neglected by the developers. They focus mainly on balancing specs for PvE content and neglecting PvP content, which is a huge mistake in my opinion. Yeah, you could replay dungeons and you can go into the same raid over and over again, but at some point raiding becomes dull, in my personal opinion. It's fun the first few times, and now it's just a means to an end. It's a means to getting your gear so that I can take this gear into PvP and have fun in PvP. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't like to have PvP specific stats where the only options for PvP gear is through PvP, because that neglects the other half of the game, which is the PvE content. I like that these two are merged. So I wouldn't want a PvP specific stat like resilience, because that would destroy this merger, that would separate the communities. And I don't think that's good for the game. When they introduced this back in Burning Crusade, that was it for me. It killed a massive part of the game for me. It's like they're just winging it. It feels like they just say, that'll do. Just put it in the game, that'll do. That's fine. That's many of the PvP events out in the world. The Ashen Veil was just a major PvE event, nothing PvP to come for. And the STV event, people would just stack near the shrines, I can't remember what they're called, where you would deliver whatever blood coins or whatever you were doing, instead of just roaming around in the entire zone. People would just stack at these places to get the most blood coins as possible. And I feel like a really easy and quick solution to this would just be that you couldn't turn in your blood coins thing before the event is over. So if you just imagine, there's no way you can turn this in until the event is over. Now there's no reason for you to stack on these shrines anymore, but there's quite a big incentive to survive and make it till the end, losing as little of these blood coins as possible. Because if you get ganked over and over, well, you lose these coins. But in turn, if you gank over and over, you gain more coins. But by you being able to turn them in straight away while the event is ongoing, you're saved from losing your coins, turning it into some clusterfuck where everybody's just gathered in the center or at these shrines, stacking up just to get as many coins as possible. But if you just remove that part, not being able to turn in coins until the end of a event, then there's no reason to stack. If there's no reasons to stack and there's a great incentive to not die, then people would be roaming around in these 5-man groups, and it would be much more PvP rather than the clusterfuck it turned out to be.
You know, this one, I mean, I understand the problem, but this one is a player-made problem more so than a Blizzard-made problem, and it's gonna be a player-made problem. It's just gonna be people are finding the path of least resistance and also maximum reward. So for the free-for-all PvP in Stranglethorn, people will always look for what is the most optimal way to get those coins, and even if you propose something like he did now, where you can't hand them in until the event is finished, they would also have to make something where you couldn't log out in the zone, because people would just cap their coins, then log out, then wait, then log back in, and they would also have to put in a system where you couldn't leave the zone, because right now you can get your coins, you can get the buff thing to turn in, let's say, 250 coins, and you can leave the zone, and you will still have the buff. So in that case, people would cap their coins, then either log off, or they would leave the zone, and just wait for the timer to run out, and then hand in their coins. And while they are farming for those coins, there will be hotspots in Stranglethorn Vale, where people meet up to do PvP, and then you join that hotspot while you do PvP, and then you leave the hotspot when you're capped, and then you hope to either make it out of the zone alive, or you log out somewhere safe. In which case, if you're a stealth class, just stealth and log out. People will always look for the path of least resistance and getting the most they can in the shortest time they can. So there would still be hotspots for PvP. The only difference is people would come and go. You would go in to that hotspot of PvP, whether that is a shrine, graveyard, wherever the hotspot is, there would be a hotspot for PvP, where people just come in, clash together, lots of crazy shit going on, and you would go there, get your cap, then leave. So there's pretty much nothing you can do here. It's a player behavior kind of thing. There's probably something you can do, but I don't think what he's proposing here would be the fix. Either way, maybe I'm dumb, I don't know. I don't really have the same problems in PvP because I simply don't PvP.
So it's just, again and again, good idea, very poorly implemented. That's the history of Blizzard. Great ideas, piss poor implementation. And finally, the over and under tuning of content. I feel like Blizzard has struggled to find the right balance in difficulty for various aspects of the game. Some content is too easy, while other parts are too difficult, and it just leads to a disjointed experience. So what can Blizzard do to win back players like me? Here are a few suggestions. Number 1, rebalance class mechanics to ensure all runes and classes are balanced and fun. Number 2, make gear progression more meaningful and integrated with the world. And I want to put emphasis on integrated with the world. Number 3, limit the number of abilities and runes so to maintain a more classic feel. And number 4, address the economic and progression frustrations. And number 5, ensure content difficulty is balanced and consistent to provide a fair and rewarding experience. I think that Turtle WoW is a great example of a server that does Classic Plus right. They expanded on existing quests, added a bunch of new quests, new zones.
The brand new quests and zones and dungeons in Turtle WoW is amazing. And I really like, when I heard about Seasonal Discovery, that is what I thought they would do. Adding brand new quests in, adding brand new zones, maybe even having a new profession, I don't know, just new stuff, right, like Turtle WoW is doing. Instead, they went the route of Ascension, just making every class be able to do everything, putting Warlock tanks in, Rogue tanks in, Mage healers in, Melee hunters in, you name it. You can just throw a certain combination out there and they will put it in, and they will also make every single class able to kick, stun, silence, everyone can do everything. It's called something, I don't know what it is, but like every class can do everything. It's turning into retail, which some of the reasons why people like Classic is that classes are good at one or two things. The specialization of classes. You bring a rogue for those kicks. Shamans have Earth Shock and like the fast kicks and totems. Instead of everyone providing everything, every class has its unique thing that they provide to the group. In retail, everyone can do everything. And that is what Season of Discovery is turning into, that everyone can do everything. Which was not what I was expecting, was not what I was hoping for. I'm still enjoying it, but I could be enjoying it a whole lot more if it was a little bit more Turtle WoW-like. Way less class changes, way more focus on the open world, and way more focus on what can we add to make this experience better, but also keep it somewhat the same. I don't know, it's just... It went a whole different direction, and it's like you're at the crossroads and you can either turn right or left. I was hoping for us to turn right, they went left, right? It's just they literally went the opposite direction of me. I was not hoping for this. They've given all the classes way too many things. They're focusing way too much on the raids, and they're focusing too much on the raids, and also spacing content out too much. At this point in Season of Discovery, I was expecting at least Blackwing Lair to be out. Maybe even being at the set G patch. I was expecting leveling to, sure, be staggered, but not give us 8 to 12 weeks, sometimes even 15 weeks. To level up in a level bracket. I was expecting 4 to 6 weeks of leveling. Never ever ever was I expecting to be parsing and farming bis over and over and over again in level up raids. Level up raids for me was just a fun way to maybe get some extra loot while leveling to help you get a faster leveling experience next phase. This was never intended to be an actual phase for me. It was a level up phase, which was meant to go by fast, to keep you engaged 24/7. I don't know.
New professions, also just new recipes within existing professions. They didn't introduce over-the-top additions that break the game, but instead they built upon the classic foundation in a meaningful way. To me, it's clear that the developers at Turtle WoW are in touch with the community. They understand what the players actually want from a Classic Plus experience. Maybe things will change in the coming Phase 4, but on the PTR, I think it's a mess. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more gaming content. And if you're interested in what Turtle WoW has done, then you should check out my next video for a review of their server. Thank you for watching.
You know, I have made a couple of Turtle WoW reviews myself, and I'm just going to say I'm looking forward to your review on this, and if you haven't checked them out yet, I'll be linking the video in the comment down below, in the pinned comment, so you can go and check it out. Show some love to the original video and the original creator as well, and give him a sub, give him a follow, and give the video a like, and that was a really good video. Once again, looking forward to the Turtle WoW review. I have reviewed it myself, really had fun on that server. I've even played on Telebeam, the new PvP server. Well, I say new, it's been a year now or something like that, right? But I played there and got to level 60, and I have 2 level 60s on the old server as well. One of them being a Paladin, of course, had to check out the Paladin changes. But yeah, overall Season of Discovery hasn't really been what I was hoping for. Phase 1 was really fun. Every phase afterwards, though, became less and less fun, and it's just, I realized it was not exactly what I was hoping for. It's still great, and I feel like they're looking, and this is my ultimate hope by the way, they're looking to make Classic Plus in the next 2 years. Well, 2.5 years or something, and Season of Discovery is one take on Classic Plus. I'm hoping they have one more season, way more like Turtle WoW, and they will take changes from both of those and make Classic Plus. Well, they would have to take a lot more from Turtle WoW than they have done from Season of Discovery, if you ask me, but it's just a way of throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. Overall, it's gone a little bit too much in the retail direction for me, but either way, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. That's the video for today. Just wanted to watch this video, and it ended up being a really good one, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Either way, thank you so much for watching, I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you again in the next video very soon.